For Switzerland, direct democracy is a key element of the political system. In Switzerland, direct democracy is even it's so important that it is part of the Swiss identity. People cannot imagine democracy without direct democracy. And it's an integral part of the way Swiss politics function. Now, comparing the Swiss situation with the rest of Europe, what is very important is that all across Europe, direct democratic institutions are spreading. So in several countries, Switzerland has been the paradigmatic case of direct democracy, but for example, Italy also had direct democratic institutions for many years. Other countries have acquired such institutions more recently. You have Irish referenda. You have in the new democracies in Eastern Europe, you have in the constitutions of these new democracies, you have direct democratic possibilities. And you have had several referenda in the context of European integration. Remember the referenda on the Lisbon Treaty, for example, France and the Netherlands have voted against the treaty and the treaty was dead. You also have the spread of direct democratic institutions at the lower than national level. For example, what is not so well known in Germany, you have at the Länder level, you have direct democratic votes. So it's an institution which is, I would say, spreading. And we have just done a module in the European Social Survey in 2012. And we have asked the populations of 29 countries in Europe and neighboring countries whether they consider direct democracy as part of democracy and whether they would like to have direct democracy. Now, as it turns out, it's not the most important element to non-Swiss Europeans. They also want to have direct democracy, and they think that their country falls short in terms of direct democracy. But there are other aspects of democracy which they consider more important and where they are more critical in terms of the way their country's democracy works than direct democracy. The two things which they are very critical of is the lack of social justice and the lack of rule of law. So in terms of what the Europeans criticize and what they want, these two aspects are more important than direct democracy. But if you ask a Swiss, for the Swiss, it is extremely important. And I think the other Europeans or Europeans in other countries, they just do not know exactly how the Swiss institutions work, and I think if they knew how they work, they would be more enthusiastic about them. Direct democracy has gotten a bad name in the past, in particular in the Weimar Republic it has gotten a bad name because it has given rise to constant permanent campaigning which advantaged the National Socialists and their rise. And the Germans are highly skeptical. Other people like Giovanni Sartori, in order not to name him, a famous Italian political theorist, they think that, I cite him, direct democratic procedures would quickly and disastrously fail because of the incompetence of the people. Now, I think the Swiss case, but also the practice in other countries shows that this is a highly pessimistic or overly pessimistic view. People know how to do direct democracy if they are called upon to do so in the framework of proper institutions.